Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of According to Sacha Podcast. And this is the conversation series that we come to you every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know, we sit and chat with other professionals to see what they got going on in their business, their lives, and so much more. And tonight we have a special guest, Kyonna F. Brown. She's an author. She's a forgiveness expert. She's a pet grooming expert. Like, she has a whole long list of things, and I'm going to let her talk to you about it tonight. But there are some amazing things that she's doing in her world and in the community and the lives of others. And so, but you know what we got to do first? We got to talk about it. What we got to do, you guys? Y'all know, right? You got to like, follow, and share. Like, follow, and share all of our platforms. You know exactly where we are. And we are on YouTube, Twitter. We are here live on Facebook, as well as all the streaming platforms that you see at the bottom right here. And without you, there would be no us. So I really do appreciate your support. I thank you for everything that you've been doing so far, subscribing to the channels, downloading, following, sharing, liking, everything that you have done for us. I really do appreciate it, because the more you do, it's the more that the word gets out there for everyone else that we bring onto the show. So it's not just about me. It's about everybody that comes along with me, right? So it's about helping others and really, extending their platforms. And that's what we do here at According to Sacha. And so I don't really have a lot going on tonight. I do have a giveaway. So for whomever that chimed in on my post earlier that I made on Facebook, sorry you guys on Instagram, Face, and YouTube, and wherever you're looking at, but I did make a post about a giveaway. I have 3 hotel accommodations to a destination, worldwide. I love to send people on like tropical islands, or just go down to Vegas or Miami somewhere or anything like that. But I do have 3 giveaways. But the only way that you're going to be able to get that is if you watch and chime on the comments, getaway. That's the keyword, getaway. And that lets me know that you're here. That lets me know that you saw the post, that you're here. And, we go ahead and do the 3, or, whatever it is that we need to do tonight. And so I'm going to go ahead and get ready to bring up our guest. And because she has a lot, I really want to really, allow y'all the opportunity to hear what she has going on. And so got this one word, and I'll be right back. Entrepreneurship, small business, is something that everybody would love to do, making their own money. And this is what we will be talking about on According to Sacha. Hi, Kyonna. How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for being on our show. It's a pleasure having you here tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's awesome to be here.
Thank you.
Got it. So can I take a peek in for, when you say that keyword? I want a vacation too.
Yeah, girl. Yes.
I just want to know if I can participate.
I'll let you participate. I'm gonna break the rules because I can break the rules. Yes. So you had the keyword in there. All right. So look, y'all better come on and chime in now. But yes, I do giveaways every now and then, and I have partners, and tonight's giveaway will be sponsored by Tony Travels with Tony J. She is our partner here on According to Sacha, and we love highlighting other businesses. So yeah, so you get in on that. So Miss Kyonna, I'm gonna ask you a question that I ask everybody, and tell me, who is Kyonna F. Brown?
Wow. Kyonna F. Brown is a multi-dimensional, multi-hyphenated, beautiful daughter of the Most High, doing her thing and rocking out authentically and being herself. That's just who I am.
I love that. I love that. There's sometimes when I ask people that question, they say, oh, and I got to think about it. Or they just take a while and then they pour it out. But you pour that out with so much energy and so much authority. And I just love that. I love that multi-dimensional. It's like the second time I've heard a person say that. And I've been trying to hold on to that and make sure I remember that for myself, because, when we're multi-dimensional, that means we have a lot of great things going on. and we can operate in those different sects very well and authentically and genuinely. So we're going to talk about the first one. No, I don't even want to talk about the first one yet. I just want to talk about you a little bit. You know, how you got started and everything you're doing. So you're the forgiveness expert, you're a grooming expert. Like, tell me the gist of the juiciness of it.
Oh wow. Okay, so how did I become this multidimensional, multi-hyphenated person? It actually stemmed from uh, a sort of trauma in my life. When I was a child, I grew up with my grandparents. They took us in at the time when we were younger. My parents were on drugs and they really couldn't care for us. And so they did, what I've learned today is to be one of the most sacrificial things that a parent could ever do. One of the most selfless things that a parent could do, especially when you want to be there for your children, and you have to decide whether I'm going to be a fit parent, or do I allow for my children to go somewhere where they have a better opportunity to have a longer life and a better life and a more grounded and rooted life. And in that circumstance and situation in my life, even though that was a great thing that they did, as a child, you still want, mommy, you still want daddy, and grandma and granddaddy are great substitutes, so to speak. But you still yearn and want that attention from those significant others that should ultimately be there in your life. But however, because of that, I dealt with low self-esteem in my youth, depression. I dealt with youth obesity. And obesity has actually been a challenging thing for me for the latter part of my life. Just dealing with learning how to become healthy, not just for what it looks like on the outside, but learning to have a healthy mind first. But before I got to any of that, knowing that my mind had to be healthy, I engaged in just about any and every type of drug that you could think of besides crack, because that's what my parents were on, and heroin. And I didn't want to take that route. I wanted to play it safe, because I saw what that did to them. But people around me that smoked a little weed or did some ecstasy or whatever, they were all right. That was a cool party drug, but it was also my way of escape. And food was my way of escape as well. And then even, I had lived an alternative lifestyle because of being a person overweight in high school. You weren't like really looked at like, hey, that's the cute girl. I can remember in the sixth grade, a guy told me, he said, you would be pretty if you weren't so fat. And that stigma kind of stuck with me. Even I want to say there's still sometimes that I look in the mirror and I don't see what everybody else tells me they see. And that's an ongoing thing that I work on, just building myself up. But as a result of that, I did dabble in the alternative lifestyle because one, I was getting attention. Two, it was like, the kind of end thing when I was in high school. So I kind of did that, and it led to a relationship that ultimately landed me in prison for 4 years. And so while in that prison cell, there were some really hard truths that Kyonna had to face, that Kyonna had to realize. And one of the things, I ultimately blamed my father for everything. My dad right now today, thank God we have a relationship, but this relationship is a result of him having life in prison. And, some people would say, oh, wow, your dad's in prison and you're thankful. Yes, I'm thankful, because it could be the other way. It could be that I don't get the opportunity to know who he is, and he doesn't get to see who I become. So sometimes God will give you that great pause, and he gave me that great pause in life to kind of figure some things out. And so in that season, I had to realize that, Kyonna, you're constantly and continuously blaming your father for the things that you've gone through in life. Sure, he wasn't there, or sure, he didn't show up for this, and he wasn't the one to show you what love was supposed to be like coming from a guy, um,
Mhm.
but he was still your father. And at the end of the day, even if the choices he made affected me, that does not mean that I have to react in a certain way. And so the way that I reacted was to use the drugs, was to eat, was to go out and party, was to live a promiscuous lifestyle. But ultimately, it was not his fault that Kyonna chose to do those things that
Mhm.
landed Kyonna in prison, because Kyonna had the opportunity to say yay or nay. And I chose to do those things. So I had to forgive myself for the decisions that I made.
Mhm.
And then, go into the relationship of, working on forgiving my father for a lot of the things that I did blame him for. And over the years, I've realized that, forgiveness is truly a layered process, because you might heal on one surface, but below that surface, there's a whole nother issue that you haven't even begun to scratch the paint off of yet. And so, just learning how to deal with different situations and circumstances that come against me, forgiveness has been the catalyst to help me endure and to continue to go through in spite of what things may come to challenge me, or even I feel that the enemy wants to bring me down. I still have to learn to have a space of forgiveness in my heart so that I can be free. And so that's pretty much where my journey started, was in that
Mhm.
great pause in prison. I did everything that led up to that. And then God was like, sit down. You're not listening. There are some things that, I've shown you. There are some talents that I've given you, and you've tapped into it, but you've allowed for them to die. And so
Mhm.
as a result of that, being in that great pause in prison, I learned to pick up my pen again. And in the ninth grade, I was in a creative writing club, and I really
Mhm.
had a joy for writing and sharing, and putting different things together on paper and seeing how it manifests. And
Mhm.
being there, I was able to write two plays that actually got put into production while we were in there. Yes, I'm putting plays into production in prison. And so just to see, when you step back, it doesn't, because you're in an environment, you're not looking at the people for the crime that they committed. You get to know them for who they are. And just to
Mhm.
see how each and every one of them, first of all, believed enough in me to say, okay, Kyonna, we're going to take this script, we're going to put it together, we're going to do this. And then, even the prison for allowing for us to have these opportunities to have programs to help enrich ourselves. That was just a great thing to see. And it
Mhm.
encouraged me. It was like, Kyonna, you really got something. And I would continuously read books. And so from reading the books, I'm like, wait a minute, I did this play, and the play is nothing but a shorter version of a book. Kyonna, you got books in you.
Yeah.
And, I was coming home and I said, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you come home? So I wrote a plan. And there were four things that I was going to accomplish when I came home. One, I
Mhm.
was going to become an author. Two, I was going to become a paralegal. One of the opportunities that I got in prison was to work in the law library, and I was able to assist other inmates in actually getting their sentences reduced from what I learned in studying how to shepherdize law and look up the different codes and all of those great things. And
Mhm.
uh, the other thing was to get back into pet grooming and to have my own business. Uh, and I can honestly and gratefully and humbly and thankfully say I have completed all of those things and more.
Awesome.
And so that's pretty much where everything, kind of got started for me, is just learning to let go and really release the past so that I could step into my destiny, what God actually had for me.
Yeah, and that's a powerful point you just made. Letting go and forgetting about the past. Just like everything, just leave it where it's at and you just continue to move forward. Because a lot of times people get stuck there. And I love when you said that forgiveness is a layered process. A lot of times people can think that the way one person forgives is the way a next person should forgive, anything like that. But at the same time, it's a personal journey that you have to do. And then when you can actually make your way through that process and come on the
Mhm.
other side of it is the greater part about it, because you free yourself, like as you mentioned, but also
Yeah.
you free that other person. You know, a
Mhm.
lot of people would say forgiveness is not about the other person, but it's about you. But it's that cord that you hold on, and the person, they know they could have made an offense with you, and then
Yeah.
when you forgive that part of it, it just releases it all. And whether the other person ever comes back and say, "Oh, I'm sorry," whatever like that, but at least you know you at a certain level of peace. And there's a lot of times people can argue that, oh yeah, well, forgiveness doesn't mean I got to forget about it or anything like that. I love to say ultimately, because like I see, it's a layered process. But forgiveness is to forget.
Mhm.
It's about forgetting the offense of the matter, because that's how you can walk freely. So what would you say in that part of it, just kind of tap into you being the forgiveness expert? Um, Tap into that. Like when you see other people talk about, or like on Facebook or Instagram, whatever, and they're talking about forgiveness, but they're looking at it in a shorter way, like they're like in a limited mindset when it comes down to it. What would you have to say about how people respond differently to forgiveness?
Well, first, I would, kind of like to look at it, just to piggyback off of what you said about remembering and all of that. Uh, I would honestly say that true forgiveness is because when you can remember without the pain,
Mhm.
uh, I like to use forgiveness as a tool to help you navigate to your next level.
That's good.
Right? And so when you can actually say that you've healed from a situation, you're remembering without the pain, it's like an alarm system,
Mhm.
right? So say for an example, you're outside and you get a little bit too close to somebody's car, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of people will have a mechanism on there that's called an alarm that helps protect from vandalism, different things happening to their vehicle, and that alarm goes off.
Mhm.
And so when you remember without the pain, you are able to navigate through life with your alarm system, that when situations and circumstances arise in your life, because they will,
Mhm.
once they do, because you're able to remember without the pain, the alarm goes off to alert you. Hey, hey, warning, warning, this is familiar territory. I
Yeah.
must be alert. Pay attention, wake up. Because a lot of the times when people are hurt or they go into a situation where forgiveness needs to be implemented, it's because they were kind of sleeping, so to
Mhm.
speak. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? Their
Right.
guards were down. And not to say that you have to be guarded up all the time. You go through life, but once you're able to forgive, it allows for you to have that mechanism that goes off to alert you when you need to remember,
Mhm.
right? So, one of the things that I love about God is that he sent his son so that we could forgive,
Mhm.
right? But in the process of that, when we're forgiving, we need to understand the whole principle behind it. The
Mhm.
whole principle, it says that when we forgive, that we should forget. No, you shouldn't forget. You should remember without the pain. And
Mhm.
what our God does for us is he allows for that memory to be suppressed until you need it again.
Mhm.
And so it brings back up that gear so that you're able to be alert when those situations happen in life. So
Right.
now, I am one, people probably look at me as if I'm weird, because when there's something that happens where I I know that forgiveness is like around the bend or maybe down the street, or a long jog uphill, because forgiveness situations are different processes. I get
Mhm.
excited, you know, because I know that there's something that I am going to learn. And so if I'm learning something, that means that I'm evolving. And if I'm evolving,
Mhm.
that means that I'm growing. And if I'm growing, that means that I'm not stagnant. If I'm not stagnant, then that means that I'm moving, right?
Yes.
And
That's
so
good.
I get excited about, an opportunity to forgive, because there is so much more in that than just saying, oh, I'm letting this person off the hook, or, I don't want to deal with it. There's so much more beyond that the simple word. There's so many layers of it. There's so much growth in it. There's so much that you could become as a result of learning to release the shackles. I like to say that there are many years before I was physically incarcerated that I was mentally incarcerated. And that's what forgiveness does. It binds you up mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Because
Right.
sometimes people don't even realize that you can honestly really get sick if you don't forgive and you don't let go. Different cancers come about. There's so many testimonies of people learning to forgive that once they've done that, the cancer just drops right away.
Mm.
And so, just knowing that, just saying, hey, if I could just learn to be a little bit more gracious, because offering forgiveness is grace, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Something that sometimes we may not even deserve, or that person may not even deserve it, but we get it all the time. So why can't we give it back?
That's true. That's true. And I love the what you just said, about embracing the opportunity to forgive, and it helps you to evolve and to grow and keep moving. And so many people get stuck there. They get stuck in, the prime example is like, I know you talked about your experience, but then you have something where people are in relationships and they go through a hurt or trauma because of a relationship, and they get stuck that they can't move forward into embracing something new, and because of they haven't really processed every layer of forgiveness. And so that's really, really deep. And I know that, from you experiencing that and growing from it and really allowing that to be your message and a big part of your story, then you also write books about that. I know you have
Yeah.
some children books and other things. So tell me a little bit about the books that you have, or and the ones that you have coming out regarding forgiveness.
Awesome. So, pretty much all of my books that I have hit on a topic or area of my life when I had to operate in that space of forgiveness, my superpower. Uh, but right now, I have about 7 books out right now. Even in the coaching sector, I had to operate in a space of forgiveness. There's a book with a different coaches all over, but I had to write a chapter on shifting gears with grace. And that was so
Mm,
important to me, because even as someone who's a coach, who's being coached, you have
mhm,
to learn how to navigate in your truths and not what someone else has for you. I'm
mm,
a very, very firm believer in taking the time to figure out what's best for you. A lot of people
mhm,
have a lot of information that they can give you, a lot of different directions that they can tell you to go in, but is that direction necessarily for you? And so that's one of the books that I really, really like to highlight, because that was a really, really monumental journey for me in the season of becoming a coach. But I wanted to take it a little bit further, because I'm used to having aid for women and people of my peer group in the area of forgiveness. But one day, my son and I, we were home. I was asleep on the couch, those good old nap times on the couch, a
Oh
Sunday
yes.
afternoon, you just relaxing. And he stole me out of sleep because he wanted my attention for whatever reason. I want to say this was like maybe 2 years ago. And
Mm-hmm.
so in the process of that, I heard him crying because I did yell. You're startled, so you kind of yell.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so, you know, I noticed him weeping, or a sound coming from his room. So went and close to his room, and when I got there, I heard him crying, and I heard him saying that nobody likes me. And
Mm-hmm.
just to think that I made my baby feel that way, I had to, one, apologize to him. I had to ask him for his forgiveness. And then I had to express to him, what happened. And so,
Mm-hmm.
in that moment, I realized that if we were really taught the true values of forgiveness in our youth, that we would be
Mm-hmm.
light years ahead, right? And so I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta, do something where I can get involved with the youth so that they can understand. And I believe
Mm-hmm.
that it would help abort a lot of suicide attempts, a lot of bullying, because if they're able to uh, understand their mind and understand the thinking around what some others do. Even the bullies, a lot of times the bullying is not because they want to bully, it's because they're dealing with something that they don't know how to necessarily express. And so it turns into something, and then that person feels a certain type of way, and now they want to commit
Mhm.
suicide. So it's like a domino effect. And I feel that if we could have forgiveness education that our children can grow from and expand that, they will be so, we as a nation, as a group of people, will be so further ahead, if we know how to tap into that at an early age. So that's I'm working on a series, and the second book for that one is coming out shortly. Um, right before this, I got into an email where we're doing some edits with the graphics and things like that.
Mhm.
And then another thing that I'm doing is a docu-series called Life Behind the Shears, dedicated to pet groomers like myself. There's a story behind the shears, and so I feel that that should be something illuminated, to be shared with the world.
Yeah, so let's go ahead, since you set me up for that question. Let's dig into the pet grooming, because that's something that, really, I can hear the joy, when you
Mhm.
talk about it and when you mention it, the joy behind it. So tell me a little bit about, the name of the document. I mean, not the document, sorry, the documentary. you know, the name behind that. What's the purpose behind it, and how, you really view pet grooming?
Wow. So, the name of it is called Life Behind the Shears. And one of the questions that I'm going to ask each participant, in this documentary is, how did pet grooming save your life? And, I will, put a pin in it right there. And that's why pet grooming is so important to me, because it did actually save my life. When I came home, I tried to get, different jobs, and I went and did the paralegal thing, and I was like, it was to the point I was in the halfway house and I couldn't even really get a job. I ended up working at McDonald's, becoming a manager in a short period of time. And that was just God showing me my leadership skills, and that I could go out and do this business owner thing. But that was the thing that I really connected with. That was the thing that brought me joy. Once I
Mhm.
got a job back in the industry, I remember the first day I went into this Petco, and I asked the guy, I said, I'm a groomer, and I hadn't groomed in over 4 years. Okay. Hadn't picked up a pair of shears or anything. I'm like, I'm a groomer, I can groom. I'm just trying to get back into it. And he says,
Mhm.
well, when can you come in for an interview and blah, blah. I said, I can do it now.
Mhm.
I can do it right now. And so he's like, dress the way you are, dress the way I am. I had on a skirt, a little jacket, whatever. I can groom for you right now. And so
Mhm.
I was like, he said, okay. And I was like, oh God, what did I just set myself up for? But, he allowed for me to do it. And I looked at the time, and at this period in my life, my great grandmother was still alive, and I had to take her to the doctor. I said, look,
Mhm.
hey, I have to take my grandmother to the doctor, but if this dog is still here, I will come back and I will finish it. And I came back, and he told me that he didn't think that I was coming back.
Mm.
But however, from that position, he ended up taking me to another, a different branch of pet grooming industry, and told the people there, he said, hey, I will come, because they wanted him. He said, but if I can't bring her, then I'm not coming. I was like, okay. So he did that, and that kind of opened up doors for me. And then it got to one point I was the only groomer in the salon. He done left me. So you learn to look at things. I felt some type of way, in the
Mhm.
beginning of that when he left. I'm like, you got me all the way out here. I don't know these people, but now this gives me an opportunity to rise. And so instead of
Yeah.
being mad at him, I'll forgive you. You go do what you do, and I'm gonna rise over here. So that's another thing that forgiveness does. It elevates you. So being
Yes.
able to have an open heart to forgive him for just dropping me off, I was able to advance, to where I
Right.
became one of the high sought after groomers in that area.
Right.
And then I worked out of a boarding facility. At one point, I felt like I was a Jamaican groomer. I had like 5 jobs. I was working at PetSmart. I was working at two private places. I was grooming out of my home. And yes, I would pull up on you and pop open my trunk and groom your dog from the back of my trunk. I was I was doing whatever and going to people's houses. I was doing whatever
Uh-huh.
it's, and ultimately, I had the opportunity to open up my business with inside of a boarding facility, and that was the catalyst that really took me to different levels. But the pets, they really saved my life,
Yeah.
because I was able to connect with them.
Mm-hmm.
There's a different connection, there's a joy, there's something different about dealing with an animal than dealing with the people.
It is.
you know
It is.
bring an animal all day long, I'm not sure I probably want to have a conversation with,
I'm
but
with you on
however,
that one.
I got you. I get some rubs, I get some licks, and
Yes.
it's not all fun and games. I will say
Mhm.
that there are some dogs that are like little furry dogs, but they have an inner pit bull. So I have to work with them. But the rewarding part is, working with those type of animals, and to
Mhm.
be able to have a kindred spirit, to connect with them, to see where
Yeah.
they are, and to be with them on that level, and to watch them grow. To watch
Mhm.
them be able to begin to have a trust. There's some
Yeah.
dogs that I have right now. I'll read the back of their cards because I have a lot of pets that have been with me for years, and some clients I'm even on their third and fourth pet. That's
Mhm.
how long they've been with me. And I'll read over the notes and I'll see where, they might have been this vicious little animal, but now at this particular stage of our relationship, I don't
Mhm.
have to put a muzzle on you. I don't
Yeah.
have to double tie you to the table. There's a trust that we've developed, and
Right.
understanding, and that's a great joy to be able to know that
Yeah.
you can connect to a creature without words.
Mhm.
Just the
Yeah.
connecting soul, the connecting of the mind. Because like they'll look at me and I'm looking at them. We kind of like have
It's
this.
the communication.
Well, I'm grooming you today,
Right.
and just being able to go into that atmosphere and
Mhm.
kind of, leave everything else behind.
Yeah.
Once I step in there, I have to be groomer mode. I have to
Mhm.
be, responsible. I have somebody's baby. I have somebody's fur baby that can't
Yeah.
talk, can't tell me anything, can't tell them anything. I have to be very attentive, and just to be
Mhm.
in that space, is rewarding and enjoying and relaxing. But it's still a hard job, but somebody got to do it, and I guess it's
Yeah.
me.
Hey, and you know what? And you gifted to do it because can't not anybody can, especially with the joy of knowing that a dog came in and they were like little, they didn't trust you and they showed that. And then after a while, it's just like, oh no, she's cool. I could get with her. Okay. When you can see that transformation in the animal, especially with dogs, because I have a dog. And
Mhm.
one of the things that I really, I'm an animal lover as well. So I get you on that whole thing. Sometimes they better than people. It's just, I'm sorry, y'all. I said it. Yep, I sure did. But, when I watch my dog and I, we really do have a connection. And I've had conversations with people before. They look at me side eyed. I'm like, no, really, you are really in tune because this is another life. Just because they're four legs and furry doesn't mean, and they can't talk in a way that we can't verbally hear them. But it
Mhm.
doesn't mean that they are not another living being that has feelings, that have a mind, they can think, they are conscious about a lot of stuff, and they watch everything you do. My dog
Mhm.
and I, we got that. I told my daughter yesterday, I said, I know for sure. I asked him which treat did he want? Did he want this one? And I know people, y'all don't think I'm crazy. I know I saw him go like this real quick. And I tried to get him to do it again and he wouldn't do it. He started barking. I'm just like, I got you. But like I said, if I had a conversation with somebody else, Sasha, you crazy. No, yeah. I'm not Dr. Doolittle. I don't care. I own it or whatever it is. But it's a thing within a person when you can connect with anything outside of your own kind. And
Mhm.
and and there's a level of, when we look at dogs and cats in their own way, they're lovable in their own way. But really with dogs, when you really look at that, there's a part of forgiveness that's there too. They have that in them. You see so many videos and stuff, people, mistreat animals, especially these dog videos or whatever. They mistreat them. You got a little, work to do with them. But when they feel okay and back to being calm in their nature, it's in them to be that
Yeah.
way.
They can be facetious in one moment and know that they're doing something that they are not supposed to do. And the next second they're up like, please forgive me, please, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can do something, to them, whether
Yeah.
it be, pop them or step on their tail or their foot or, whatever the
Mhm.
case may be. And they're so easily to know, just turn back around and be like, it's okay.
Yeah. 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 It's a lot that we can learn. I tell the
They are
people.
great of how letting go so easy.
Yeah, that's good. So I noticed that when I was reading information about you, and I was just going down the whole, like when you say you're multi-dimensional, that is so true. And I saw with you, so is there something that you actually combine forgiveness with your pet grooming? I think I saw something about forgiveness. Tell me
Yes,
a little bit about
yes.
that.
So I am the forgiveness expert who also offers forgiveness for pets. Over the years of being a pet groomer, I a lot of battles with the skin of the pet, and because they can't talk to us, we don't know that a lot of the things that are in our environment or even the foods that we continuously feed them, they may be allergic to. And it causes some type of metabolic issue with them, where it then plays a part of their chemical makeup in their DNA, and they begin to have rashes or allergy reactions and things of that nature.
Mhm.
Sometimes they have bacteria infections, such as and I constantly would go to the grooming shows year after year, because I always have at least a handful of pets whose skin I'm just like, I want you to be better. Like, there's some dogs that have really, really bad skin conditions.
Mhm.
And so I go and I'd ask them, I have pictures like, this is what's wrong with my dog. And the professionals would be like, okay, well, this is a product that we have, you can try this for this and you can try that for that. And, one year I was flipping through one of the pet magazines and I said, okay, this says a pet esthetician, learn more about the skin, become a skin specialist. For I'm like, wait a minute, this would help my clients. Like, I need to, and first of all, school, no, I don't want to do school. But however, because I love my babies that much,
Uh-huh.
and wasn't getting any real resolve, every time I would go get it, because a topical, it's just that, it's a topical. Right?
Mhm.
We need to get to the root of the matter. And so the root of the matter starts on the inside. Anything that is manifesting on anything that manifests on the outside, it
Mhm.
manifesting internally first.
Mhm.
And so being able to see different skin issues and name them for what it is, and have a treatment that you can work up on your own. And that's what I wanted to offer for my clients. So I went to school and I
Mhm.
became a certified pet esthetician, able to practice therapeutic services for them, where they can get in like the little jacuzzi bath, which
Ooh.
is called the ozone machine. It produces O2, like when it rains outside and you get that
Yeah.
smell, the oxygenated smell of the rain, cleansing the earth. And so that machine helps me do that, to open up the pores for the materials that I use on their skin to actually penetrate a little bit deeper.
Uh-huh.
And it's just amazing to have clients that trust and believe in me. That when I was in school, I had to have case studies, and so
Uh-huh.
some of those same dogs, I was able to, work the science that I've learning the science of the
Mhm.
skin, how, when you look at a coat, like you can ask some groomers, what does different coats need? You got medium coat, short coat, long coat. What does it need? A long coat? Well, the long coat needs collagen. A medium coat needs mineral. A short coat needs oil. So you need to use the proper utensils. And I've learned that, a product may be cheap in price, and you can go a long way with it in buck within the shop. But is that going to help for the duration of your pet's life with their skin? And so learning the different products, learning what I can use to be able to help my pets have forgiveness, where they can have healthier, replenished and feeling great skin. You want to feel great in the skin that you're in, right? So
Right. Oh my goodness. I learned, I did not know they had that for your pets. So I just learned something new. I mean, I'm just sitting here listening to you and I'm thinking to myself, had the guy never took you to that one place and left you, you probably wouldn't be at this level. So he did his job. And because when I'm, listening to everything and you're just leveled up from there, going to learning about the skin and all the other stuff. Because, the pet industry is a very lucrative industry, because people going to, take care of their pets like they take care of their kids. Well, good pet owners anyway. And so, that's really good. And I love that, you're doing that and bringing it all together. And so this has just been an amazing interview. I'm just like, I just love just listening
this
to
is
you
my
talk.
year 10.
All right.
This is my year 10.
You're 10.
We've been in business. Pooch Styles has been in business for 10 years this year. 10 years.
All right. We're celebrating that. Well, you know what? I guess you'd be celebrating that with, if you're going to win this giveaway tonight. For your last show. Anniversary present from According to Sacha Podcast. But yeah, this has been so phenomenal. I really love everything that you're doing. So if anybody wanted to get into the business of pet grooming, or if they wanted to, let's say if they had that story in their lives when they're like, you know what, she's speaking my language when it comes down to forgiveness. Like, how can I, become a forgiveness expert? Or even like, you have life coaches, you have all these different coaches, but you're actually teaching people and coaching them on how to forgive and walk in that. If somebody really wanted to tap into either one of those, what's some of the advice that you would give?
Wow. So, first of all, my goal is to help create other forgiveness experts in the world, right? Because that's the goal, for us all to be an expert at learning to let go, because that's the best way for you to live and grow. But for me, I've tapped into different, there's schools out there where you can learn more about forgiveness, different techniques and things of that nature. So I kind of did some research and tapped in to those things. I've actually gone to coaching classes and things like that. So I'm actually a certified coach, because it's one of the things that I want to do. I didn't want to, because people out there are easily to tag on the word coach behind their name. But, I want to make sure that whoever God is entrusting me with, that I am really building them up in the way that he wants me to do. And I'm a spiritual based person. So any of my coaching is done, straight from the book. I use the book. It's my tool. It's just really to, I guess, if you wanted to tap into the forgiveness part and wanted to help people, you have to really learn how to forgive yourself. Right? You have to be able to forgive yourself in everything. Everything, whether it's a bad business decision, I had to learn to forgive myself in a bad business decision. At one point in this beautiful business, I went to work every day and I turned off the switch. I was there, but I wasn't there. I did my job. It was like I was a machine. I did what I was supposed to do, until one day I had to realize that you got to get off of this ride. You made a bad decision, and in that bad decision, you have to do something behind that. And so I had to have faith, and I had to put action behind that faith in order to move. So anything that you want to do, whether it's coaching and forgiveness, mindset, whatever it is that you want to do, you have to put faith with that, and then action. Your action is going to be researching, making sure that if you're giving people information, that it's factual information. A lot of the
Mm-hmm.
time, we want to give people advice from off of our personal lives, but when we do that, everybody's life doesn't line up with ours.
Right.
Every experience that we have doesn't align with the next person experience. And so one of the other things that I did is I studied Dr. Henry Cloud. He has a program called Boundaries. If you go to
Mm-hmm.
boundaries.me, um, it's a therapy service where you can take different sessions on your own. He has different seminars. And this is a person, I sat and listened to one of his books called Boundaries, and
Mm-hmm.
I listened to it, and I was like, this guy is talking my life experience.
Wow.
Like, God allowed for me to experience what he's teaching. And so now that confirmed that what God gave me to teach and share is something that can really help people, because that's confirmation. So you want to go out and into the zone and get those different fields of confirmation to let you know that you're on the right path, and that you're not just speaking some hocus pocus from your own thoughts and feelings and emotions.
I love that. And I love the fact that you brought up forgiving yourself, because that is major. That is major, because a lot of times we can walk around with our resentment to our own lives, our own selves, and the things that, mistakes we made, decisions we made, and we just don't get over it. But that hinders so much more that can really
Yeah, and how can
overflow.
you teach somebody else to forgive if you can't forgive you?
Exactly. Exactly. That's awesome. Well, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this conversation tonight. It wasn't an interview, it was a conversation. And I want you to, follow Kyonna. I have her IGs. There's 3 different ones up here. It's the forgiveness expert. You can follow her there. Pooch Styles _. Follow her there, especially about her grooming service. And then the healing incubator is her 3rd IG page. So definitely go and follow all 3. If you're in her area and you have a fur baby, go ahead and get your fur baby to her services. Shoot, I might find my way up there with me and my dog and come see you. Feel like,
Well,
what we
look,
want to.
we have people who travel. We have people who come from Jersey, Georgia. We had one client that lived in Florida. Whenever they came and fly up, they flew their pet with them. Yeah, we have people come from all over,
Oh wow, that's
because we do
awesome.
coloring
That is
too.
so.
Yeah, I'm also a creative grooming stylist as well.
Okay. So the dogs will be walking around with the little purple, or they're looking like zebras and all this other stuff.
Yep,
And
we do all
you do
that
all
stuff.
that. That's awesome. Kyonna, thank you so much for being here tonight.
You're
You do
welcome.
get the giveaway. I will, I don't have anybody else that chimed in. So you will get the giveaway, and I'll let you know exactly where you're going to go after the call or after the show. And just stay back for me 1 second, and I will close out. But everybody, I hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure you go follow Kyonna and all that she has going on. She is a breath of fresh air, a wealth of knowledge when it comes down to forgiveness and pet grooming and everything. But she has the heart that's there too. So definitely connect with her. Kyonna, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Bye bye. All right, you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this show tonight. This is what we do. We do this every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the According to Sacha Podcast Conversation Series. And oh, somebody asked, what is the giveaway? Okay, so I don't see a name. Can you put your name in here? It's not showing your name. Um, Counter, you might have a runner. But so the giveaway is accommodation, hotel accommodations sponsored by Travels by Tony. And yeah, so the whole thing was to say, oh, Manisha Holden. Yeah. I posted it earlier. It was a giveaway, and the keyword was getaway. But since you're here tonight, Manisha, I don't know, stand by. I will give one to you too. So it is let me make sure I have you. Can you put your email address in the chat real quick so I can get all the details over to you. So I always have a choice of where to send people to. And Manisha, let me ask you this: if you're still up here listening, what are your top 3 dream trips? Put it in the chat for me, and then I'll make sure I'll take care of you. So we have 2 winners tonight, you guys. So I mean, that's how we do. You know, I'm Sacha. I can break the rules. I can do however I want to do on this show. But always stay tuned. Okay, thank you for your email. But definitely let me know those 3 locations. But that's what we do. I love being able to just give back because you guys, you're doing a lot. You're coming up here, you're watching the show, you are liking, you're following, you're sharing the shows and everything. You're subscribing on YouTube and so forth. So that's just my way of giving back. But it also is a great way because this is business media. This is, a show that's geared towards entrepreneurship, and it gives opportunities for other businesses to okay, got your 3. All right, perfect. It gives them an opportunity to showcase their business and what they're doing. And one of those ways is partnering with us in this giveaway. So every month for the second season, we have one more month. The month of August is going to be the last month of the second season. I want to do another giveaway. And if you have a product or service and you want to participate and be like an in-kind type of sponsorship, then let me know. And then that way we can get your products and services up here as well in a part of the giveaway. One of the things that I know a lot of people talk about, we always talk about ways of promoting and marketing. And participating in something like this is a way of promoting and marketing your business and the things and your services and the products that you have. So here's my email address. According to Sacha, that's according to number 2, Sacha, SACHA, @gmail.com. If you want to be interviewed on the show, reach out to us. And if you would like to be a sponsor of the show, show sponsor is something that we have, email us and we'll get you the information. And then if you would like to participate in the giveaways, then let me know, email me and let me know what you have to offer, and we'll get it set up for one of our shows and give it to the people. That's all we do. All right. So we will be back with you. What's next week is going to be August. So we'll be back with you next Thursday. We have, I think, 5 more shows, whatever, how many ever Thursdays in the month of August. The last Thursday in August will complete our second season. I'm going to take the month of September off for my birthday month. And I'll be back in October for the 3rd season. So, and I have a whole nother lineup of people, you guys. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. Manisha, I have your information. I will contact you about your locations and how you will access everything. I believe for Vegas, there is, I think it's either a 3 or 4 day hotel accommodations. And, but I'll get the information to you. Okay. But thank you, everybody, for watching tonight. Make sure you share the podcast and everything. And everybody who's listening on the streaming sites, thank you so much. And remember to command your day and be great in everything you do. Bye, guys.